Reignfall is a mix of real-time strategy, third-person combat, and city building. Now, you would think that means it's a mix of StarCraft, Smite, and SimCity. But no, it's not that advanced. But it does take inspiration from all three of those. It's more like Banished, but the combat is the focus. Reignfall is much more concerned with having you fight off increasingly stronger waves of enemies than building up your town. Every building is only fuel to build an army. It's a cool formula that sometimes plays more like a puzzle. So, with that, let's dive into some mechanics. The best place to start is where a new player would start, building the town and managing the resources. While only part of the game, you need to nail this if you want to have a good run. The resources you need to manage are food, water, stone, iron, grain, flour, skins, ale, hops, weapons, light armor, and heavy armor. Whew! It's a lot of resources. Some of these require a supply chain to produce. For example, light armor needs a leather worker, a pig farm, and that pig farm needs a grain farm, and those grain farms need farms. It can get a little expensive to create the supply chain. So it ends up that these are more for the late game. Anyway, the actual mechanic of placing buildings is easy and intuitive. You can quickly get the hang of it if you've played any other building game. It's obvious when and where you can build. It's so easy, and it's really welcoming to new players. Maybe too welcoming, because I had some of those advanced buildings up long before I needed them. Okay, I'm joking about it being too welcoming, but it is nice that the game won't let you build where a building isn't going to work. For example, it won't let you place a fishing building outside the range of water. Side note, building roads is so incredibly useful, more important than you might think, which expands the city building complexity. It's a simple way to force you to plan your city more. Certain improvements need roads. For example, the church needs to not only be near the houses, if they're all connected by roads, it works even better. This means more gold income, which is huge. They also allow your peasants to deliver resources so much faster. They're not required, which is cool because it makes starting out a little easier. There's less to think about as a new player. However, I wish the game displayed more information about how many resources I was bringing in. It's unclear if placing two woodcutters next to each other doubles their production or if it only increases it slightly. I'm also not sure how much food I'm taking in. It's kind of strange since the game shows how much gold you're bringing in. Also note that Reignfall allows you to control the speed of the game. Pausing the game and setting up your town helps maximize the resource gathering. It's also nice that you can speed it up if you're waiting for a certain amount of resources. This is also great for multiple playthroughs as you start formulating a plan or creating a build. After the building phase ends, then it's time for an enemy wave to attack. It's the combat phase of Reignfall. Here we go. This is a mix of real-time strategy and third-person combat. There are multiple groups of enemies that spawn, and you must defeat them all before they destroy your castle. You must protect the castle at all costs. The enemies will spawn from any of the four sides of the screen, which often means having to split up your forces as they attack on two different fronts. Luckily, Reignfall has similarities to other real-time strategy games. You can select multiple units by box selecting them or double clicking a unit to select all of the same type. The game even has control groups, so you can assign a number key to a group of units. It makes it a lot easier to control them, and you can keep teams together easier. Although you cannot add buildings to control groups. So if you've played StarCraft, then this will be familiar. You can even control units from the minimap. The third-person combat comes in when you take control of one of your hero units. At the beginning of the game, this is only your king. but later on in a run, you can make others. You're gonna be the best fighter you have. Your other troops, they're a bit dumb, so it's important to take control of a fighter. It gets a lot better when you have more hero units and you can place one with each of your teams as you hold off the wave. It's also just more fun since you can switch back and forth between fronts. It's a lot more engaging. However, the combat is bland. It doesn't feel like I'm hitting anything. There's almost no feedback when attacking. There's a stamina bar which gets depleted quickly from swinging and dodging, so you'll end up waiting a long time for it to refill. This is killing the game for me. The skills make it a little better because they have a neat animation, but it's not enough. It's infinitely better than watching your troops from a bird's eye view fight the battle. Sure, you might think you can change the game speed during the battle phase, but it's not during any actual combat. So, if hard-hitting combat is important to you, then Reignfall isn't for you. Well, those are the mechanics. A normal game has you dropped in with some starting resources, your castle, some knights, and the king, with very little direction as to what to do. Now you need to puzzle out the best order for building the town and what units you need for each wave. Your first instinct might be to build a wall. Don't do that. Building up your economy is a key first step. Getting some early army units is good. You'll want to create a build like in other real-time strategy games. So the only way to solve Reignfall is trial and error, which isn't so bad. Although I do recommend starting on easy. You're almost guaranteed to defeat the first wave, which is just a fun way to start. At least pick up a few tricks before trying normal. Also, for every 3 waves you complete, you gain an item. These are equipped only at the beginning of the run on your king. For example, this can be a one-time use accessory, such as food that will give you an extra 100 food at the start. Other items give the king skills to use. Side note, it's a little weird, but the king is the most expendable unit. If you defeat a wave and he's dead, fortunately, he will respawn. That's awfully nice of him. Your other units need reinforcements added if they took too much damage though, which is cheaper than replacing the unit. Otherwise, everything heals up over time. Anyway, I find it interesting that the enemies will destroy your buildings on the way to the castle. It's frickin' painful to see your hard work be crushed into a wood pile. Although, awesome that they took the time to program this. I think in a bad game situation, they would have made a decision that the enemies couldn't hit the buildings and would have just ran straight through them to the castle. I'm ecstatic they didn't do that. Also keep in mind that as your town grows, you need to clear out the map of enemy camps. You can't build on an enemy-controlled area. These vary from easy to difficult, of course, and the difficult ones are not a joke. You need enough time to defeat one and heal back up for the next wave. If you're not at full strength for the next wave, there will be trouble. The reward for clearing out these camps is minimal though. The real reward is the land. But you'll need to build a storehouse to take advantage of it. It's definitely a late game situation. Overall, Reignfall can be fun, but it's a cautious recommendation. There's a lot of game here with some excellent game design decisions. Getting deeper into the enemy waves feels rewarding. Even failing is rewarding since you gain more knowledge and those items are useful. However, it does suffer from requiring a lot of time to build up. The game can only get so much faster as you figure out a build, and getting back to the highest wave again will take some time. I can see myself giving up from a general fatigue, or that boring combat getting to me. If the combat was more exciting, this would have been a slam dunk.